How's this for numbers? 52 million Americans, 1/5 of the population, shop in a Walmart every week. $2 of every 10 spent on department store merchandise goes into a Walmart cash register. Walmart's goal is total saturation, to be within easy reach of every American. But a lot of Americans, especially those in small towns, are beginning to wonder what else this giant corporation is doing to their lives. It's already the world's largest retailer. Projected sales for 1995, $100 billion. In just the 3 months ending last January, they tell us they averaged more than one grand opening every day. This is store number 2278 in Erie, Pennsylvania. It opened last March with all the typical sales pitchin', high-steppin' hoopla. Walmart thinks it knows what's good for American consumers, and a lot of consumers seem to agree. It's a phenomenal success story. Sam Walton from tiny Bentonville, Arkansas, became the richest man in America. He defied conventional retailing wisdom by putting big stores in little places. Sam Walton is dead, but his company continues to stress Sam's Main Street small-town ideals. That's their story. The fact is, Walmart's accused of purposely turning the downtown of small town after small town into ghost town after ghost town.
They moved into towns all across the South because the easiest person they could put out of business was mom and pop.
Angela and Glenn Falgu once owned a store in Donaldsonville, Louisiana, population 8,000. They sold a bit of everything, bikes, toys, lawnmowers. Business was thriving until Walmart arrived in 1983.
Our business basically shut down in '86 after 3 years. We stayed open because we had savings and we were young, and like Angela tells me, I was totally dumb.
The bitter fact was the Falgus couldn't buy bikes wholesale for what Walmart was selling them retail. Walmart's enormous purchasing power is the reason. Also, the Falgus say they reduced prices to purposely put competitors like themselves out of business.
In the 10 years before Walmart opened, we had a total of 20 business failures. In the 10 years after Walmart was here, we had 185 business failures. You could buy a bicycle in 8 locations in this town. Today, if you want to buy a bicycle, you can only buy it at Walmart.
A decade later, downtown Donaldsonville is mostly dead. The new jobs Walmart brought to town have been more than offset by jobs lost from business closings. And as the shops closed, the tax base eroded, services declined, and the middle class fled. That's what the Falgus say. They point to Lemon's Department Store, a family business that opened its doors just after the Civil War. It struggled for 10 years after Walmart moved in.
When you see our old general store that's been open for 170 years, that survived the Great Depression, and closes because of Walmart, I mean, where does fair begin here? When do mom and pop get rights?
The lessons of places like Donaldsonville were not lost on Al Norman.
We don't care if we save a few cents on underwear. We're looking at the real cost to our overall community. We don't want to see Main Street boarded up. We don't want to see property values negatively affected. And we don't want to put some of our friends and neighbors out of business just so we can have another Walmart, because we've already got one probably 10 or 20 miles away already.
Norman is a former journalist who's become the guru of the anti-Walmart movement. He founded a newsletter called Sprawl Busters Alert. He's been invited to preach the anti-Walmart gospel in dozens of towns ever since his campaign defeated the retailing giant in his hometown of Greenfield, Massachusetts, almost 2 years ago. He says when Walmart came a-calling, it was anything but friendly.
All of a sudden, there was this huge 300-pound gorilla sitting on my sofa, you know, smoking a cigarette and kicking my cat and saying, we want to be in you're a community on our terms. So
it's also the land of free enterprise. And anybody can be as big as he wants as long as people make the cash register enough times to make them.
it's not, that's not true. That's not, there's a 6-letter word called zoning. And what it says is that, for example, you can't come into some communities and build a 50-story monument to yourself. So my attitude is, if many towns say you can't go up 50 stories, why do we allow them to go sideways 50 stories?
And that's how Al Norman teaches groups to defeat Walmart on zoning issues. Not everyone buys his gospel. Many look forward to having a Walmart nearby.
While this type of store may not meet the expectations of some, my hope is that this rezoning will spur more and better shopping opportunities.
That's what Walmart says, that most communities benefit because its stores draw customers from a larger area, creating more business for everyone. That Walmart is small-town friendly. Those folks who can't compete should find something else to do. That's what Walmart's executive vice president, Tom C., believes. A community does have the right to say, no, we don't want you here.
Sure they do.
Correct?
Sure.
But you don't take it lying down. In Greenfield, Massachusetts, for example, where they literally voted you out, you financed a huge campaign.
You know, actually, I think maybe we should set the record straight on Greenfield, Massachusetts. They didn't really vote Walmart out. What they did, what was on the ballot, was do they want to change the zoning on a piece of industrial property from industrial to commercial?
The effect of which was to keep you out.
Well, it did keep us out.
Why have you zeroed in on Walmart particularly?
Well, Walmart is the most aggressive. They metastasize faster than any other megastore. So they're the target because they're the ones who are going in and, like the big bully, pushing around the little towns and saying it's my way or the highway. And we don't care, frankly, whether you like it or not.
Al Norman's biggest coup came when this upright, down-home company was caught in a little skullduggery.
They set up a phony citizens group that had no citizens in it. And they were running ads for a group called the Citizens for Economic Growth. So we asked, who is this committee? It was Walmart's lawyer, her secretary, and her secretary's boyfriend. This is a multi-billion-dollar company doing this.
Why'd you fight so hard?
Because we felt like, very good, that's a great question.
For Greenfield, Mass, come on, it's not exactly the end of the world for a major retailer like yourself.
No, but it's a great question. It gets right back to our roots. You know, it's a small-town USA type environment. And really, that's kind of like being hometown Arkansas, quite frankly, even though it's Massachusetts.
In Iowa, 10 years after Walmart came to the state, nearly half of the men's and boys' clothing stores are gone. A third of the hardware stores and grocery stores closed. That's an enormous impact on the state in only 10 years.
Are you trying to say that Walmart's responsible for this?
You don't feel that Walmart has anything to do with it?
I think we may have some. I would not want to acknowledge that we didn't have some impact on that because, you know, you have some business people that are really good business people and you have some that are not so good business people. And the ones that are not so good business people generally don't stay in business.
The real truth of the fact is that you, in a small town, you cannot compete with Walmart. There's no competition that exists. Today, the whole downtown section of our town where people could actually walk to, the disadvantaged who didn't own cars, who could actually walk and buy groceries and clothing, that's all shut down. Now they have to walk 3 miles down the Bayou Road to get to the Walmart store. There's no sidewalks, there's no public transportation.
You shop at Walmart?
Yes, yeah. We have to. Not that we like to.
There are now rumors that Walmart will close its Donaldsonville store because it's not profitable enough. They've done that in other places. Kinder, Louisiana, Nowata, Oklahoma, Hearn, Texas. Townspeople say that Walmart's killed twice. First by wiping out downtown, then finishing it off by leaving town. Leaving people only one place to shop, 20 to 30 miles away, at another Walmart. Aren't you, in effect, though, defending a dead duck? Isn't downtown Main Street USA as dead as a dodo?
If Main Street USA is dead as a dodo, then we are too. If Main Street goes, we're losing something very valuable. The ability to walk downtown and be able to greet people by their first name and know the guy who owns the camera shop and know his wife and know that she's on the school committee. These webs and these interconnections, we can't just afford to lose them to these large windowless boxes.
Just as Walmart is constantly on the prowl, looking for new pastures to concrete, so the anti-Walmart movement is forever a half step behind them.
As for me, I would rather have the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania cram this down our throats than to give in to these people here. Thank you.
Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, the current target for major Walmart expansion. To residents at this town meeting who already have access to Walmart's bargains in a neighboring county, this is one sprawl too many.
What they're doing is, I think, morally reprehensible.
Lancaster County is home to the oldest Amish community in the country, an historic pastoral slice of Americana. The Amish and their neighbors say they want to keep these last vestiges of a rural way of life. And it's here on the wheat fields and along the buggy paths that Walmart wants to build 4 of its new superstores, each roughly 10 miles apart, each drawing thousands of cars every day. Each like this one in Arkansas, the size of 3 football fields, each encompassing the equivalent of an entire downtown. A one-stop bargain basement to some, to others, like Don Repchinsky, a concrete abomination.
This is greed gone berserk. They want to bulldoze Lancaster County small towns. They want to do it in Vermont. They want to do it in Massachusetts. Why in the world are there over 100 citizens groups fighting Walmart?
4 of them are in Lancaster County, and so far they've managed to defeat Walmart in 2 locations. But the battle is far from over. You've already got several strip malls. You've got a Kmart right out here. You didn't resist those. You didn't fight those. Why not?
Why? Because they blend in and they balance our community. That Kmart's not threatening local businessmen. It's a good balance to what we already have existing. It's not an out-of-scale, super store.
And you think that a 200,000 square foot superstore and an 18, 20 acre parking lot are good for a community, period.
We have found, Morley, in the 143 supercenters that we have open today, that our customers like it. They prefer it. Our sales tell us that, and their letters tell us that.
But are you not sympathetic to this growing idea in small communities of saying, look, we want to control this very fragile small town quality of life? You don't care about that.
Oh, we care very much. You know, our roots are in small-town America. We have stores all across the country in small-town America, rural markets. That is our home base. We're very sensitive to that. In these type communities, our stores do well, the communities do well.
They don't get it. When we start talking about quality of life, they start talking about cheap underwear. And I keep saying, you cannot buy small-town quality of life at a Walmart. They don't sell it. But once they steal it from you, you can't buy it back from them. That's what we will lose if we lose Main Street. The small mom-and-pop business, the rural community with its lifestyle, that's American. That's red, white, and blue.